All right. Well, I have a lot of just pieces of information. Haven't completely put all these together. Just felt like maybe I'm just going to make a bunch of short videos or something until I can put it all together. I really should just start a blog or something, make it easier. Just haven't had a whole lot of time. But literally, the 91 theory that I've had about the elimination stuff just keeps happening. So, um, Nebraska Cornhuskers, this guy right here, D. Mornay Pearson L. He got hurt last week in the game because after he didn't score the touchdown, but he was celebrating and he jumped and he broke his leg, or can't remember. It was something to do with he tore the ligaments in his knee or something, or a torn ligament and a fractured leg. But check his name out in Gematria. 91. I mean, we just had Cameron Wake, who was number 91 for the Miami Dolphins, who is out for the season now with a torn Achilles tendon. Cameron Wake even adds up to 46, and he was number 91. We talked about the reason that the Chicago Cubs didn't go to the World Series. They had to 46 and 91. I also talked about how the number 41 and 91 go together because the 41st day of the year is the 91st day of the year is 4/1, April 1st. Cameron Wake tore his Achilles tendon. Achilles tendon is literally 141, so 41 both ways or 14 both ways. And also after Cameron Wake was like a couple days later when the Miami Hurricanes played, they had that big long 91-yard win or 91-yard play at the end to beat Duke or whatever. And then the week before, the Miami Dolphins played the Texans, and Arian Foster got hurt, and he tore his Achilles tendon. The Dolphins were winning 41-0 at halftime. I talked about the reason that it involves the Miami Dolphins is because of Richie Incognito and the bullying scandal. The Dolphins also just signed Ndamukong Suh, who also a bully. They both come from Nebraska. And I mean, check this out if you don't believe me that this stuff is coded. Richie Incognito. Look at his name in Gematria. 158. Jonathan Martin. 158. It was also Jonathan Martin got moved to the different side of the offensive line because of Bryant McKinney. This is what they said was kind of the real reason why, instead of the bullying scandal that he freaked out or whatever. Bryant McKinney, 158. I mean, what are the odds of that? I also talked about the black shirts and what it has to do with Skull and Bones and whatnot. It's Nebraska's defense, whatever. But I want to point some things out here. So black shirts is 41. They do the Skull and Crossbones. Well, the Skull and Bones is 41. They play at Memorial Stadium. Memorial's 41. It's also the Sea of Red, which I'll get to in a second. It's all about Moses and whatnot. But the black shirts, in 2007, they suspended the black shirts or whatever, and the first player to remove the black shirt was Zachary Bowman. Zachary Bowman also plays for the Miami Dolphins this year. Then we also had Dean Jones, the actor in the movie The Love Bug. The movie is, everybody else knows it as Herbie. Herbie the Love Bug. Herbie is the Nebraska Cornhuskers mascot. So the famous actor from that movie dies on 9/1, and I knew that Nebraska was going to have a terrible season after that. And I mean, if you don't believe me, you can go back and watch. I started talking about this at the very beginning of September, before Nebraska's first game even. A few other 91s to point out. New York Yankees adds up to 191. Just like CC Sabathia's real name adds up to 91. What happened to him right in the beginning of the playoffs? He couldn't play because he's an alcoholic or whatever, had to get treatment. The Yankees, 191. Archibald Wright Graham in the movie Field of Dreams, which I've talked about. At some point, that movie is connected to this. And what happens to him in the movie Field of Dreams? He has to save the girl from choking on the hot dog, and he gets out. He's eliminated. His name adds up to 191. There's just been a lot of 91 coding in the last couple months that I've noticed. Even the Roseburg, Oregon shooting happened on 10/1, which there's 91 days left until the end of the year. It was also Jimmy Carter's 91st birthday. He's 111 days younger than George Bush 41. He's Bush 41 even, but 111 days. He's also 91 years old. The Roseburg, Oregon shooting also had the guy from the train in France or whatever who was from there, and then the other guy got stabbed. I put their names together and put it in gematria. It adds up to 91 even. There have been a few instances, too, where it hasn't been a loser, so I'm not quite sure what exactly the whole thing is, but the Royals won the World Series this year, and they had a regular season record of 91-71. So that was kind of interesting to me. I also talked about the word 91 adds up to 121 and 49, just like Revelation, just like Valentine's. And on Ghostbusters 2, the girl says in the very beginning of the movie that the alien told her the world will end on Valentine's Day of 2016. Ghostbusters 2 adds up to 191. Interesting, in the news all the time lately, they've been talking about the remake of Ghostbusters 2. Or not Ghostbusters 2, but Ghostbusters also. Also interesting to point out that World War II actually started on 9/1 of 1939. Pearl Harbor happened in 1941. A few other 91s, then I'm going to move on. I also talked about how it ties into Back to the Future. A lot of things have tied into Back to the Future this year because it's 2015. Well, Doc Brown, when he goes back to the Wild West, he actually writes the letter on 9/1. So just pretty interesting stuff. I've even talked about Michael J. Fox and Teen Wolf and how it ties into the NBA All-Star Game. They really love Michael J. Fox this year. But also, if you remember in the Illinois game, Geronimo Allison had the game-winning touchdown, and he had 91 yards that game. Geronimo is significant because the Skull and Bones stole the Indian Geronimo's skull or whatever, his bones. He even came from Iowa Western Community College, which is in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Council Bluffs, Iowa, 191. Interesting, too, the town that is based, The Exorcism, the movie and the book, is based off of, or partly based off of, is Erling, Iowa. In Erling, Iowa, you take Highway 191 to go to Council Bluffs. That leads you right into Council Bluffs. But Fighting Illini, Illinois' name or whatever, 91. Actually, I'm just going to keep talking about a few more things. So Alex Gordon, the Kansas City Royals player, remember he was number 4, and in game 1, he hit the home run to tie the score at 4-4 in the 9th inning. But other things about him too. But he didn't sign his player option or whatever, so there was an article about that. But he played at the University of Nebraska. Okay, and he's even born in Lincoln, so. Born in Lincoln, played for the Cornhuskers. Also, you had Harrison Ford's ex-wife who just died in the news recently. Interesting, they were married for 21 years. I just talked about Flip Saunders and how he became the coach on the 21st game of Kevin Garnett's rookie season. Kevin Garnett wore number 21. He played in Minnesota for 12 seasons before leaving. This year is his 21st season. Interesting, her name adds up to 223. Just like the Synagogue of Satan. And also, Flip Saunders was born on 2/23, announced his cancer on the 223rd day of the year. I even talked about Andrew Wiggins, the Teen Wolf, who won the Rising Star Challenge MVP last year. He was born on 2/23. And when I think of Andrew Wiggins, I think of the movie Ender's Game, which I have never actually watched. But it stars Harrison Ford, and the main character is Andrew Ender Wiggin, without the S. His sister's name is even Valentine. Talked about the Lupercalia references. Valentine's is the middle day or whatever. But let's check out Ender's Game in gematria. Ender's Game is 91, go figure. And also 46, just like the Chicago Cubs. Also talked about the Curse of the Billy Goat and how it tied into all this. Curse of the Billy Goat, 223. Just like the little banner they made saying, "We got Detroit's goat," 223. The Synagogue of Satan, Skull and Bones. Think about it. Harrison Ford's character in the movie is Colonel Hiram Graff. That adds up to 91. Just Hiram Graff is 60, Melissa Matheson, without her middle name, is 60. 60, also a number I've talked about over and over, dealing with Lincoln, Nebraska. Abraham Lincoln adds up to 60. Lots of recent events have had, oh, I did that last time too. Abraham Lincoln. Interesting though, the 52 and the 239 is the 52nd prime. It's the 239th year of the United States. This lady's known for the movie E.T. Literally, E is the fifth letter, and Pythagorean gematria, and then T would be 2, so it would literally be 52. Lots of other stuff, the 60. 76ers equals 60. Moses Malone died at the age of 60. Daryl Dawkins adds up to 60. They were both 76ers. They were both the first to come out of high school to play in the ABA and the NBA. Flip Saunders died at the age of 60. And that's how it all tied into the Teen Wolf and whatnot, and the players coming out of high school, or the teenage players in the NBA. But anyway, they also did the whole Moses theme there for a while. And this article was on ESPN, I believe it was yesterday, 10 hours ago, and it talked about Michigan State's player Josiah Price and his 13-year-old brother who has cerebral palsy, and what an inspiration he is. Interesting that the Spartans play Nebraska this week, or today. And first thing I thought when I seen this kid's name, Barack Price, I thought, oh, for sure his name adds up to 84, because Barack Obama was born on 8/4. Guarantee this guy's name adds up to 84, or this kid. And what do you know? It's 48, the mirror of 84, and also 84. And they even make it clear, not the army lodging, not the president. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. Jesuit also adds up to 84. Lots of stuff with it. 216th day, 6 times 6 times 6, 216. But anyway, just this article in general talked about the Moses stuff. Well, Josiah and Barak are both from the Bible as well, and so they're just following the storyline. They had the Moses stuff, the Sea of Red, whatever. Also interesting, that plane crash from the other day, the Russia one, October 31st. It was literally from like the Red Sea airport or something, and it was going to Sinai. I thought that was kind of funny. But this guy basically started cleansing the world of idolatry or whatever, following the law. So he kind of basically got this going again, the book of Judges, I believe. Yeah, the book of Judges. But this guy, Barak or Barak, he was later on, and he went and fought this person, Sisera, and he made this lady go along or whatever. I don't have that much time left on this video, but so I'm not going to really go that much in depth and explain some things, but I just have a feeling that in this game today, that something to do with this story in the Bible or whatever is going to be involved in the game today. So, I mean, I was just thinking, I looked at some of these names and whatnot, so I don't know if these names are going to pop up in the game or something to do with them or what, but I just wanted to make that, to point it out. I think that they're going to do something with that. I even went and looked at Nebraska's roster to see if any of the players had names with that, but I didn't see anybody's name. I thought maybe there'd be like Michael Sisera or something like that, but I don't see anything like that. I did find some interesting ones, though. I never noticed before. They have somebody named Courtney Love. I mean, seriously, why don't you put him in? I'm sure he's good at killing. Ridiculous. Number 91 has a pretty interesting name, too. 91, Freedom, Achman, whatever. Who knows? Freedom is what I was getting at, and it's number 91. They even have Kevin Maurice. Just interesting, because Kevin Garnett's middle name is Maurice. I don't know, that doesn't have to mean anything. Just stuck out to me. There's also a lot of 9 and 3 references in here. I don't have time to read that. But I wanted to point out that they're from Greentown, Indiana. Greentown adds up to 121.49, just like Revelation. Also, Book of Judges adds up to 49. And Michigan State Spartans even adds up to the same as Barack Price. In this article, they even mentioned that this kid never misses a Michigan State game, and the last time he did was when his parents decided to not take him to the Lincoln game, and when they got back, he was mad and said that was the last time they'd ever leave him, basically. They also had a Nebraska player who's leaving the team now. Of course, his name adds up to 60, just like Lincoln, Nebraska, just like Abraham Lincoln, just like all these other ones. But anyway, have a great day. We'll see what happens.